Hey everyone, Mark Jr. here, back again with another review. Now, I gotta be up front here. This is the third time buying Sony's WH-1000XM series for me. When I originally bought the XM3s, within that same day, I bought and returned them. And when my old reliable Bose QC35s finally hit the dust, I gave Sony one more chance. But within the first week, to an unremarkable audio impression, cheap leather, heat, and just sheer discomfort, they couldn't ever overthrow Bose for me. So, despite the XM4s only sporting a ton of small updates, surprisingly enough, they finally did overthrow the Bose to me. Now, recently, Sony released the WH-1000XM4s, which I'll be referring to as just the XM4s for the rest of the review, and the WH-1000XM3s, the XM3s, respectively, as Sony's naming scheme is garbage. Other reviews I've seen so far seem to miss a ton of things, and if you notice, they're not in the real world right now. I, however, spent my last week or two testing them out on campus, around real people, around real environments. Why does that matter? Well, one of Sony's most prominent new features is speech detection. The moment you start talking, your music pauses, focusing on the voice it heard trying to talk to you. Now, this isn't a complete replacement to the old method on the XM3s, holding the cup of your hand over the pad to activate this mode, but it is an over-engineered automation of it. When it works, it's one of the most impressive things I've found on a pair of headphones. Just start talking and it focuses on the voices around you for your conversation. No taking off your headphones, no holding them, nothing, just straight up a seamless transition to the world around you. However, when it doesn't work, it's frustrating and borderline disappointing. There's two things that can happen. It can be not sensitive enough to the person talking to you when they're too quiet to the headphones, and therefore you have to start talking until it notices the conversation, or it's too sensitive, where the little small grunts, adjustments to your throat, talking to yourself, or the loud TV speaking, or just pronounced sighs. It just pauses your music when you don't want it to. Right out of the box though, something not new at all is what you get for your money. The box is identical to the last, the case is identical to the last, although the included organization for the included airplane adapter, aux cable, and USB-C charging cable is more than welcome. It is the same as the XM3s from before. Now, the external looks are the same as the XM3s with their big, bulky, smooth design, which my girlfriend insisted I mentioned that she hates the look. Personal preferences aside, the only thing on the outside that's different is the thickness of the support on the top of the headband, so it won't embarrassingly break. But materials of the leather has changed. Sony's XM3s always had their ear pads feel like they had plastic film on them or something. The XM4s, however, actual normal soft leather for once. A small thing, I know, the leather is different, whoop-de-doo. While a lot of people won't notice this, I can tell you as someone that couldn't stand the XM3's comfort, I can tell the difference immediately. Inside the pad, the foam material changed as well. On the XM3s, I had to remove the inner foam as it was a harder material which pressed against my ears, giving me a headache within like 30 minutes. In addition to the material change, it's slightly more spacious as the foam was cut down, period. Mainly to do with the proximity sensor right here on the left cup. That sensor enables autoplay pause, a truly underrated feature of any audio product. Now, yeah, just pausing the music for you when you take it off doesn't always sound that impressive, but boy, it's a nice thing if you haven't had it for a while. It's self-explanatory how it works. Just this little square inside sends out a signal to see if your ears are inside, saving you from blasting music outside on your neck like an a-hole. Next off, multi-device pairing. Gosh. You know, I could never get these to work just right. Even manually clicking the device to pair in the settings of the device, it just wouldn't do it for me. With Bose, it was much more seamless and reliable. Whichever device was playing would connect with the headset and play it within a second. Now, this was a big thing on the wish list for the XM4s that people wanted, so tell me after 2 weeks of using them, I finally found the setting that allows this feature in the app. I'll get baffled, frustrated, embarrassed, maybe. But honestly, why the hell is that turned off by default? If you were to use a device that doesn't have Sony's app available, or just didn't download it, you could never turn it on. dumb move, Sony. But the worst, and I mean the worst, I hate it so much, is Sony's adaptive noise canceling, called adaptive sound control. Like, when it works, I adore it. It changes how intense the noise canceling based on your environment, which reduces pressure and feels a lot more refreshing than having it on max everywhere. And whatever genius thought it was a good idea to give you a beep every single time you go to a different environment, I sincerely hate that decision. Now, a lot of the features you can turn off and on, except the beep if you have adaptive sound controls on, the bastards. All that is from Sony's headphone app, which works way better than software from other audio companies, I can tell you that for certain. You can change the control of the touch sensor on the side. Now, that touch sensor, I love it. It's massive, responsive, and intuitive, with a swipe being volume up, down being complement of that, double tapping play pause, lastly, skipping a track, going back one with a right or left swipe. But say you don't like touch controls, just turn off on the app and use your phone instead. Sweet. The noise canceller doesn't sound just right. Well, let the thing beep in your head, not like a little Terminator, and it'll personalize your sound profile. Don't like the power and the Google Assistant buttons? Well, too bad. Can't change everything in the app. God's sake. But the sound, however, you definitely can. Now, you can't turn these into a pair of skull-rattling skull candies or studio headphones with impeccable perfection of sound recreation, but boy, you got a lot of dials to turn up and down. There are a set of sound profiles and your own creations, which is now a bit of a gimmick of a feature, but trust me, if there's a pair of headphones that makes a difference when you dial that stuff, it's the Sonys, guaranteed. So how they sound is kind of hard to describe because of this. First off, do they sound better than the XM3s? No. Okay, well, mostly. There's one difference. The max bass on the XM4s produces the slightest of rumbles of feedback, bass shaking on your head, which is very welcome, but besides that, it's up to you how it sounds. Although, I do think, in general, it's a pretty solid sound that these can make. But it's what sound that's missing is what this genre is defined by. One feature, known as noise canceling. Now, make no mistake, these and the Bose NC700s are the best you can get. Now, I've never flown on a plane, but in the car or out in the library, these block all of the world around me that I could ever wish they could. Versus the XM3s, though, I really can't tell the difference. Even the difference between the Bose QC35-2s and the NC700s is so minute that you're just splitting hairs. Now, with its 5 mics and XM4s, they claim improvements, which may be true, but noticeable to me. Call quality was fine too. No one ever knew or noticed I was on a pair of headphones or had any complaints. Versus the NC700's legendary call quality though, well, that's a question for my comparison video between these and the Bose, so stay tuned and please subscribe for that. Yeah, I'm doing that to you, blue balling you. Please subscribe. Now, these aren't cheap for $350 on launch, and for 2021 sometimes, it'll probably drop around $250 or more, as Sony isn't allergic to sales. I'm assuming that we all kind of know that though, if you're watching this. So, whether or not it's worth your Benjamins is simple. If you're looking for a pair of noise-canceling headphones, you buy Microsoft Surface headphones or the Bose QC35s, or even the Sony XM3s, as they're cheaper now, for around $200-something. Now, if these are on sale in the $200 range, I strongly recommend these over those, but for resale price, these aren't selling for $350 just because of their noise canceling. It's because they're smart, honestly. Noise canceling is just one of its many features. These are about being a powerhouse of capabilities versus just noise canceling. So if its luxuries intrigue you, as it does me, I think these are a bigger upgrade than most people say. And I'll be wearing them every day until there's something better out there. But until then, thank you for watching. Peace.